Hey. Time for an out of this world story from rSpace. Nothing hurts worse than watching the life you built implode on itself. Today on rSpace, it's not just bricks and mortar. It's 25 acres of what could have been. I think my wife is cheating on me. How to know when to approach her. I think I have enough evidence. I was going to place the tracker on her car tonight, but not sure I can wait that long. I'm a mess. I'm shaking and trying to act normal around my youngest, who is home with me now. Edit. One major thing I left out. When we had our last talk, she started discussing separation and she said she wants this to be as clean as possible and could never screw me over. Going as far to say, ideally, she would want the bird nest for a while and wants me to have the house as it's on my family's land. Sorry for any typos you may encounter. I did this on my phone and I am very distracted with the emotions I'm feeling right now. My 39, wife 39, and I have been together since high school, 22 years, and married for almost 15. We have 2 boys, 5 and 8. Things have been pretty good all these years with some minor normal bumps along the way. I always feel like I got so lucky with her and consider her to be the perfect person with looks, brains, and as a nurturing mother. I won't lie. We have had some pretty rocky periods the past 2 years, but nothing that I figured would be marriage ending. She started getting very distant 2 months ago, and we had talks and she started mentioning how she wasn't feeling happy and that she feels like she spent her whole life making the safe decisions and never really found herself. I began working on myself, but she was pretty emphatic that she didn't want to change who I was just to appease her. I'm seeing a therapist, as is she. She started going to her sister's on weekends for a few hours after the boys were asleep. Our 30-year-old nephew, her sister's son, died last fall, and so she wanted to be there for her more. I had no problem with this. However, her attitude has worsened towards me in the past few months. She seems cut off, and then we had a talk last week that she thinks she is done. So I spent the week processing this and began to focus on what I could control, and that is me. I've been listening to marriage and male husband improvement books to better myself. Not necessarily with hopes of changing her mind, but of a way of self-improvement and a way to cope with the sudden decline in marriage. However, her visits with her sister have increased to every night, and she's often showering and taking a bag with her. She doesn't get home until 1 or 2 in the morning. Her sister is a night owl, though. Although this seemed so off to me, my gut was telling me there was something else. So, the past evenings, before she leaves, I checked her odometer. Each morning it shows her having only driven 8 miles. It's over 18 miles round trip to her sister's. 8 miles round trip, however, just so happens to be the distance to a nearby park and ride near a local highway. I'm 99% sure she's meeting someone there, and I want to confront her. Civilized, of course. However, I know if I'm wrong, this will end any attempt of saving the marriage. So is this enough? There's one guy I suspected early is also married and was a friend of mine I met coaching our kids' baseball team last summer. He was messaging her after a trip we all went on, but using Instagram Messenger, which my wife is never on Instagram. Shortly thereafter, she got a new phone, changed the passcode. She knows mine and I've known hers forever. We had conversations about it and I asked her at the time if she was cheating and she denied anything. I suppose the writing is on the wall, but I feel crazy checking her odometer, but just something feels off. Update. Came home from work and checked the mail and found lingerie packages, one of which is a really revealing brand. So she's not home yet, so I found her travel bag and it's full of spicy toys. Update 2. I think the guilt is crushing her. See the latest update regarding her messages to me. She still doesn't know I know. Approach her when she's least expecting it. Maybe she's mid-shower or packing her bag. Use lines like, "Going to your sister's again? Trying out the new hardware?" I hate to say it, but if she's not preparing for a role in a 50 Shades reboot, she's definitely up to something extracurricular. Update. Trying to stay strong, but emotions are right under the surface. Today's the first day after 100% discovery of my wife's affair with a mutual friend. She doesn't know that I know, and I intend to keep it that way until she is served. However, since fully discovering last night, I was pretty certain up to that point, I'm finding I can be stone-faced and over it to those around me. Then the next second, when I am by myself, I feel the train wreck of emotions coming out. I have to stick this out until it's done right, but I want advice on how to keep these strong emotions breaking through the surface at any minute. Update. This past Saturday, we sat down to discuss assets and how we can work this outside of the courts to keep our children protected as much as possible. I made it through about 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting before I let her know I knew all about the affair. I let it all out. I was angry, hurt, betrayed, and utterly destroyed. I made sure she knew that while keeping it civil. Lots of tears were shed the first night. She never denied anything and didn't beg for forgiveness, so I appreciated that. While what she did destroyed me, we were not in a good spot for a few years. I cannot condone or forgive what she did, but I do feel like we have so many regrets. Yesterday was busy with sports, and we both had to put on fake happy faces around everyone. Last night we talked again for almost 2 hours, 100% civil and just relaxed. We have built so much together, and we're scared to death of what is going to happen to our children, let alone the logistical nightmares. We built a large house on 25 acres purchased from my parents in the middle of their 125 acres. For obvious reasons, I thought I wanted the house. She doesn't. But I probably can't afford it, and part of me wonders if I would really be happy. This has me questioning everything I ever knew. Supposedly, the affair partner, who was my friend first, is having a hard time with this, and when she told him I knew last night, he apparently had a semi-breakdown and almost had to be taken to the hospital. I don't feel bad for him, but I think our whole situation is so effing complicated it just feels like everyone is losing here. I told her there are no winners here. No decision we make is going to work or make me feel better. I don't think she wants to reconcile, even though she kept saying that if she hadn't done what she had done, there was always that possibility, and that is what hurts the most. I'm leaving a lot out here, so I know many of you will say I shouldn't feel anything for her here, and while I hate her for what she has done to me, I do recognize she's a good mother and the mother of my children. We have 20 plus years of history, and that still makes this all the more painful. I didn't ask her to leave, because that's not fair to the kids. I go from furious to extreme sadness, so flat, and it's a constant cycle between that. Now we have to try to figure this out, and we don't know what to do. We both feel paralyzed. Neither of us wants to buy a house in this crappy market, and we are both 100% for 50-50 custody with open flexibility beyond that. So I'm not sending her off to some small freaking apartment where my kids will spend 50% of their time. We have good net worth of almost $900K, but most of it isn't liquid, so it doesn't help either. She said she will move whenever it gets to be too much for me, but we need to have a plan in place, which we don't. Everything hurts. What hurts the worst is I don't have the feelings of animosity that I thought I would have for her. Watching everything that I thought was my future crumble before me is almost too much to bear. I shouldn't give her the time of day after what she did, but I don't feel that way and I don't know why. All I know is everything hurts. I just want to be numb. What do I do? I haven't told anyone but my therapist and the lawyer invited for a consultation. I have no one to turn to. I don't want to tell anyone yet either. I'm just existing at this point. Is what I'm feeling normal? Am I being weak? This is tough, OP. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. Betrayal, regret, love, hatred, and a whole mess of other emotions are part of the package deal. You're processing a monumental shift in your life, and it's okay to feel every single part of it. For now, keep leaning on your therapist and lawyer. They're your lifelines in this emotional shipwreck. And remember, you don't have to make all the decisions right away. Give yourself the grace to take things one step at a time. As for a fair partner, I bet he's the kind of guy who cries when he can't find his favorite brand of kombucha at Whole Foods. No sympathy here. Update. I suppose it's time for an update. Divorce progress, telling our kids where I'm at, etc. I'm pretty much emotionally drained from the last 2 months, but my therapist says it's a good idea to get my thoughts written down and either post them somewhere or simply burn it. You can check my profile or post history if you're interested in the backstory. The very short of it is that I discovered my 39 male wife, 39 female, of 15 years, was having a 4+ month affair with a very close friend of mine, also my son's t-ball coach, and his son and my oldest are also friends. I didn't want to reconcile, nor did she really, but I wanted to keep our house and land and 50-50 custody non-negotiable. I've been laying low for months while living under the same roof. All I do is eat well, work out, work, and spend time with my sons. I decided not to tell anyone except my therapist, and that was hard to do, but in the end, it didn't make a difference. I will explain. She bought a house 15 minutes away and started moving in last week. We also finally told our sons, 8 and 5, which was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. The pain and sadness was almost too much to bear. We were able to start to focus on the positives for them. A new place, new rooms to decorate, new neighborhood to meet new friends, etc. This has eased the transition a little, but it's going to be a long road. I'm bringing my oldest to therapy in 2 weeks, using my therapist, and I hope I can make this as easy on the two as possible. That's where 100% of my energy has been going lately. I'm staying amicable and maybe almost too much at this point, but I just have this terrible empathy for this island she has put herself on. A lot of her friends are backing away from her because, well, apparently they all knew. It started with a beach vacation we went on a few weeks ago with lifelong friends and their kids. I was against the idea for a lot of obvious reasons, but I decided my kids deserved one last vacation with friends, since we had not told them yet. My soon-to-be ex-wife decided to tell the friends on the trip that we were getting a divorce and told them we had been having problems for a few years and that it was a mutual decision. The one husband came to me and we talked for an hour or so, and then he said to get a hold of him when we got home. Last weekend, he and the other friend of ours went out to get a drink with me. Within a few minutes, they asked me if I knew the whole story as to why she was asking for divorce. I asked what they meant, and they proceeded to tell me that they knew she was having an affair with this guy and they weren't sure I knew. Their wives told them they needed to make sure I knew because they all felt terrible. They told me they were pissed about what she did and they had my back. The next day, I took my boys to a birthday party to a family we became close with over the past 2 years. We had heard through the grapevine that they suspected my wife was having an affair, but neither of them came to me. When the wife found a free minute when I was alone, she came to me to ask if everything was okay. I told her I knew she knew, and she proceeded to tell me all the red flags that she saw for months but was scared to tell me. She made it clear that the affair partner's wife has made it known to everyone what happened. Ironically, she has never said anything to me. So here we are. Divorce is being finalized, my kids are broken, and so is my family. I don't know how to handle all the effing insane whirlwind of emotions, but I know I will get through it. Even after all she did to me, I still can't shake this feeling of empathy to my soon-to-be ex-wife. She has alienated herself and may have destroyed most of her friendships along with our marriage. She's living in a house that is a major downgrade from what we built together, and she simply has very few people to lean on. I know that she put herself there, but it's still hard to watch. On a side note, I will never be date-worthy, but when my friends and I were out for drinks the other night, a girl was definitely flirting with me. Her eyes and smile made me feel like I might someday have a chance to find someone who really cares about me. I didn't approach her, of course, but it was a nice interaction given that I feel like I have a zero self-esteem after all of this. Hopefully this will suffice for those who are following my other posts. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Oof. You went to a birthday party and got the lowdown from another friend? Apparently, everyone knew about the affair except you. Despite everything, you still feel empathy for your soon-to-be ex. Why? She's made her bed and now she's lying in it, alone, in a downgraded house. It's hard to watch, but maybe it's a fitting consequence for her actions. You're doing better than you think, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. It's a mess, but you're surviving, OP. You'll get through this, one day at a time. What do you make of this? Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon.